93. Do with the will should be the whole of the law. This month's update is gonna be a little different. I'm gonna be posting this on Christopher Ellier Fleming's YouTube channel and Jesus Antichristofer's channel. So it's gonna go on both because this is kind of related to both situations. And it's been a long time coming. I've been really thinking about how to explain all this, but seeing a lot of stuff that's been coming out, like how they debunked all the flat earthers, like Professor Dave videos I've been watching a lot of, and others like Mini Minuteman. There's more people coming out now kind of like debunking bullshit, explaining things that before, like we had stuff that was explaining, like, try to gather my ideas how I'm gonna put this because this isn't scripted. So I believe the world was always a certain way and that we were being lied to about certain things. So I was basing decisions and making choices based off of those beliefs that now I've come to realize, okay, I was wrong. Like when the flat earthers go down to Antarctica and they're like, oh, look, the sun sets. Like we were wrong. Like then the other flat earthers who sent them there, they sent their best and brightest flat earthers to go see the sunset in Antarctica, which doesn't set during the summertime. They sent their people down there. They're filming it, showing it doesn't set. Our models don't fit this. We have no model that could explain this on a flat earth model. So like now they're all accusing the people who went down there of faking it. And it's just like Graham Hancock's work, Ancient Aliens and stuff. A lot of the craziness is now being, we're able to go through and like intelligently have people look at it and go, this doesn't fucking add up. Like there's questionable things for sure. I don't think it's exactly what modern archaeology is saying it is, but I don't think it's fucking Ancient Aliens shit either. And when I started out hearing about sovereignty, it was because Dr. Fred Bell, ultimately, which was like, I don't believe he's like the uncle of Art Bell, who started Coast to Coast in Dr. Fred Bell was a Freemason and was going to go on Jesse Ventura's TV show, and he was all excited about it and sent me and Ryan the email with him and Jesse arm in arm. And then we find out he died while they were filming for the TV show. I don't know if it ever came out. I'm not sure what ever happened with that. But I do believe, like, if his family believed there was foul play, they would have filed a wrongful death lawsuit. I always took it and believed, oh, the Freemasons killed him because they didn't want him to tell air conditioner. Freemasons killed him because they didn't want him to tell whatever he knew. But it was kind of weird because Dr. Bell, if you read his books or look into anything about Dr. Bell, if you see some of my early videos, I used to always wear like a pyramid on my head when I was doing the videos. It was called a paradome. And it's like clarity, like copper dimensional pyramids, like things, plants grow better under pyramids. He wrote a whole book about it. Not to stay on subject here. So I believe that they killed him. That was why I started the YouTube channel Christopher of the Fleming family, which was like, because he was always kind of telling me and Ryan, like, well, what Chris is studying is like more right than like what Ryan was looking at, which was like, my neighbor is a fucking reptilian alien. And Ryan would swear that his neighbor looked at him, Ryan, look at me, look at me. He told this story 1,000 times to everyone he'd meet, and he would listen. His neighbor looked at him and said, look at me, look at me. And then like, he like made his eyes look like lizard eyes. And Ryan would swear that this happened to him. And like, I don't know, probably not, right? But whatever, like that's his, if he believes it, like he believes that that's what he saw. And that the neighbors are constantly watching him. Always telling me like, don't post on Godlike Productions, don't give it. Like I like did everything I wasn't supposed to do. Like read the book of the law, found out about like these satanic pedophiles. Is what Alex Jones is always talking about. And then like, so I like looked into Satanism, and like I like looked into everything else, and I was like always listening to Alex Jones, and like I would print his DVDs and go hand them out at the mall. And my whole car was covered in InfoWars, in anti-Obama, like wake up, 9/11 was an inside job, all that stuff from like 2005 on. Like I believe like sovereignty is like you're not committing a crime unless you've harmed somebody, right? So like if there's no damaged or injured party, like I'm not a person. Like, so like I looked up all their terms, I read their Black's Law Dictionary, like understood it all. And like Dr. Fred Bell was always like telling me like that's where it's at. Like you're getting closer to like where the power is actually at. Like, so like, but I always thought there's like a group of people keeping people down. They were like trying to kill him, like trying to silence anyone like who's trying to tell anyone else about it. But now it's almost like we're like, again, like almost like in the fight where it has to be like initiates, like the ones who are being persecuted and shit. Originally, like Knights Templar and Knights Hospitaller and shit like that, right? So the church was all mad because these guys were like creating their own banks. You would like go on a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, right? And you'd go drop off your money, your gold, at a Templar bank, and they would give you a receipt. So this is where fractional reserve banking comes from. They found out that if you give someone a receipt, they're going to give you their gold. Okay, you're going to give me something of value. Okay, I got your tarot deck. You're going to give me your tarot deck. Okay, I'm going to give you a receipt. And you can go anywhere else. We're going to give you your tarot deck. So it's just like protection. So like when you're traveling, you're not getting robbed in the woods, and all your gold's being taken. Found out that people like just started using the receipts as money. They would never really go back to the Templars and be like, "Well, give us your gold." So they became hugely wealthy, but it's always about that. It's like it's corruption. It's like but they were the poor knights of Solomon's temple, two men riding on one horse. They took vows of poverty, but they had humongous wealth. This is like not a civics or like history lesson, but you need to understand some foundational stuff first before we get into all this stuff. Founding fathers came over and created the Constitution. We all know where it all went. Okay, like Antoinette, like the Revolution, French Revolution. People are starting to write more ideas like people are free. People have unalienable rights. And among them are rights to life, liberty, and property, pursuit of happiness. There was already anti-slavery, people talking about anti-slavery when the Constitution was written and during the Constitutional Conventions. And I believe that Benjamin Franklin had a lot to do with the anti-slavery stuff that was going on, but there was like already that going on. I don't want to get into the Civil War and stuff, all this other stuff about banking, but there's been bankruptcies that have gone on, and there's been like the War of 1812, which we're not really told. I mean, they teach about it in school and higher education as well. Like I've seen classes like in college where they're going over lectures about it. So you can talk about it because it's like, well, this is like, why are they not teaching? But they do it at higher levels. But it's like, I feel like some of the underlying stuff, which now is becoming more out. Like the Pizzagate stuff is like far-fetched. Like they're like, I've seen some of the evidence that they're bringing out for like these pedophile cults. Like a lot of things Alex Jones will say will be true. We'll bounce around from all these different things, but they're all related. You're gonna see how this is all tied in. Alex Jones is like saying a lot of things that were true, like that people can question. Like physics doesn't explain why the towers are gonna fall faster than they should have. Like they're going against, in 2005, seeing all this, it's like, okay, so the government did 9/11, leap to like, they're like these elites who are like worshiping like Mount, all the conspiracies. Like I've been down all these rabbit trails, and I've had like literally more than 20,000 people have called me who have seen every one of your conspiracies. Like I've heard it all, and I take calls from these people. I'm not like saying people are mentally ill. Like I'm almost like Scientologist. Like, I don't believe in mental illness. It's like demonic possession. It's more like a spiritual thing that's going on within you. And if I don't come out and kind of say like, hey, like this is my truth now, like I see it like this, like I was fucking ape shit nuts and believing things that like I see people now, like while I'm scrolling, like saying, like repeating things, and I was like, damn, I was like that 10 years ago, like believing everything, like not wanting, being like a flat earther. Like if someone tried to come and tell me another flat earther, at that time we didn't have like people saying like, what you believe in doesn't make sense, it doesn't fucking add up, like here's why. And it's like, I feel at fault because I fell for their trap. Like I fell for the whole, like you have a black card, your social security number is linked to an account that's on the back of your birth certificate, in Federal Reserve banking a trust number that you can access to discharge any one of your debts. I can show you any list of people saying and making claims like this. Like, that's why I left all the space here. So I can add in videos here and just show how many people are literally, and this guy's got 280,000 views or some shit, right? It's like, you don't even know that he's talking about like bullshit that's gonna get you fucking arrested or could get you fucking arrested. And I feel like it shouldn't get you arrested if you know what you're talking about. You can go in and explain this to a jury, but with enough people not knowing what we're talking about right now, like, you don't even understand the law. You're watching videos on Twitter feeds telling you that you're not a person and that you can use the UCCs and all that. Okay, so like there's factual like basis for some of this stuff, and there's like arguments that you could present that could be brought to a court and could be heard like legitimately. But I feel like no one's really doing anything anyways. This is more for like the people who are actually like trying to figure it out. But from my perspective, I have videos that I don't want to be used where people are gonna be like, look at this guy, like, call the IRS, like, you can do this is real. Like, I'm telling you right now, this is not fucking real. It doesn't fucking work. You're gonna argue with people and have to file lawsuits and enforce everything, and then it's like legal theory. And now we have people being charged criminally for sending in documents, which it's always happened. I've gotten thousands of calls and I've seen it all. Like, sometimes people will call me and then a week later their family member will call me and be like, dude, like, they did what you said and the cops showed up at the door and we're talking for an hour and a half, and then fucking everything was cool, and then a week later they fucking pulled us over and beat him up, and I arrested him for no reason. Now he's sitting in jail. Like, how do I get him out? Like, I don't know what the fuck that guy was doing. I don't know what the fuck people are doing. But like, I know it has some kind of way of like monitoring everything. So I kind of felt like if people called me, I always kind of wanted to be like, dude, like, what you're doing is like theory. Don't try to pay bills with your signature. Like, it could get you in trouble. They sent me to prison for it. They tried to charge me with a crime. No one's ever obtained land through ways that I use, so they had to create new laws in California. And then when I filed my appeal, my appellate attorney was like, you can't lose your appeal because the penal code says that you would have had to use someone else's name to obtain this property. You would have had to use someone else's social security number to obtain this. Like, you'd never used anyone else's name. Like, you had a notarized affidavit with your name on it saying, I have this secret federal government account that's an exemption number that I can discharge any debts. So like, I swore under penalty of perjury for that. I got an escrow agreement because the seller saw my YouTube video of me calling the IRS and then telling me that I can pay bills with my signature and here's how to do it. And then I had another video where I was calling the California State Treasurer and he's telling me, the secretary is telling me, we have a lot of smart people here, we'll figure it out, send your paperwork in. So that was like while escrow was going on. Because a negotiable instrument is considered a promise to pay, a promise to perform, so on and so forth. So there are like legal bases, but like as soon as I did that, they immediately created it. Like, they arrested me for stalking the tenants after I fucking won the lawsuit over it all. Cause it was like, you guys threw me in prison for no reason. Like, you literally just lost my appeal. Like, you threw me in prison, said I committed this crime. And this whole time while I'm filing my appeal, I was like out on the street being followed around by police and fucking having homeless people like tell me like, you sued a lot of important people and you gotta die. And we were told to come kill you. So it's like, I don't know if that's real, like, but that really happened. Like, I believe that I heard that, I experienced that. Christopher's literally, I have memory of it. So I'm not making that up. Like, I'm not lying about how they fucked with my head. But then when I'm watching videos on Twitter and this lady's sitting at the gym, my cousin sent me this, when the FBI is following you around 24/7, and she's like tripping. She's like tripping. But it's like, I believe there's organized gang stalking operations on U.S. citizens to drive you absolutely fucking ape shit nuts. Like, they target people who they know are narcissistic and unstable. And they like, this is gonna sound crazy, but this is what I experienced. They would do street theater. They would like, and it wasn't just a Scientologist in Hollywood. This was happening in Eastvale, Hollywood, North Hollywood, Los Angeles, Pomona, El Monte, Diamond Bar. They would follow me like San Bernardino County, Inland Empire, Ontario. Like, it didn't matter where I went. Like, I felt like they were fucking, like, I didn't feel like it. I had evidence to back up. And then like the police would just show up. It was just like, they would know, like, they would just watch me and just like, and they knew I was recording all the time. They would wait till my batteries or my something would die and then they would show up. So I like, But a lot of my interactions with the police were so cool, I would never even post it. I would film them, and then I have them on my Google account. I never uploaded so many of them. There's so many more interactions I have with police that I've never uploaded, because 95% of the times I deal with them, they're fucking completely respectful and understand that, like, I'm just trying to be a sovereign. I'm just trying to be left alone. I'm not hurting anyone. Like, it was almost like they were on my side. So I was like, there's like Freemason cops who like knew about me and would like leave me alone, and then there's like Christian cops who hated everything I was doing and would fuck with me. And that was why, like, and then when I filed a lawsuit on the cops, so like right now, I got charged with armed robbery, and I had to bail out of jail for $10,000 because some lady said that I fucking robbed her purse at gunpoint. I had to go all the way through and the first instance was I was with Gabby, and we got off the truck, and we were at visiting my buddy in Long Beach, and I got arrested. I was drinking, and like cops' attention came to me, and when they ran my name, they're like, "You committed an armed robbery in Las Vegas, so we're bringing you in." They arrested me, brought me in for an armed robbery in Vegas. I'm like, dude, you got the wrong person, dude. What are you talking about? And I was in jail for 2 hours, and they released me. Then, not even 2 months later, I get arrested again in, my sister calls the cops because I was like, she's calling me for trespassing because I was arguing with her boyfriend. Because he wouldn't, it was like something over the baby diaper or something. I was all mad because he wanted her to change the baby diaper. And I was like, dude, she works all day. Like, you can change the baby diaper. You're not even working. And then, like, it developed into this whole argument. And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to shut up, dude. Fuck, dude. You like, it's my sister, bro. Like, and then, like, it got loud. And then my sister calls the cops. The cops show up, and then they arrest me for a warrant for another armed robbery that they say was committed in Monrovia, California. So then I had to like go all the way through. I was like, dude, I was driving a truck. I have GPS on the truck. Like, I can prove I didn't do this. Like, release me. I'm telling the detective this before I bail out of jail, hoping they're going to like let me go. No, dude, we have like links with your phone number. Like, people fucking witnessed you, that she circled your picture. Da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, so for me, I want to just say, I don't believe there's any conspiracy. I think that someone probably got robbed, and then they said their name was Chris Fleming. And that's it. And the city of Los Angeles is just trying to fucking find out who did it. And they look up me. I have a record. She saw my picture. She circled my image. They brought me to court, but I didn't fucking do it. So, like, it's not guilty until proven innocent. Am I in prison right now? No. Because I didn't do it. I can show that I didn't do it. But if there wasn't, like, GPS on my truck, if I didn't have my phone, like, with pictures showing I was in, like, Utah and there's, like, snow, I was, like, taking pictures for my work, something at my work, like a load I was doing. And, if I didn't have it, but they asked for my GPS, like, they wanted my, subpoenaed my phone records so that I could show them, like, my phone. And I gave it over, but then I was like, you should delete all that. Anyways, the point is, he's like, I should take it, like, oh, like, they're still trying to fuck with me. Like, they would arrest me for no reason sometimes. But then so many other times they would just leave me alone and let me do whatever I wanted. And then I found out, like, I was watching this thing on my stream the other day. And they're like, why didn't they ever mess with Manson? And it's like, because, like, he was, like, trained to do that. And, like, they would mess with him. And, like, they would fucking arrest him. People would show up and they would just let him out of the jail. So it's almost like, I feel like that, but they never contacted me. Like, no one ever came and told me, like, oh, like, you're in on this. Like we're going to tell you how to do this. Or, like, we're going to let you out of jail. Like, I just, like, took it like, oh, I'm a chosen one. Like, they're, like, I'm so special. Like, because I'm a sovereign. Like, I filed all that paperwork. So, like, I can just do whatever I want. So, like, that was why I would go, like, graffiti. Like, so many times I've been arrested for vandalism because I was just, like, right on the stars in Hollywood or right on, like, anything in Hollywood. And the cops would come up and just tell me to stop after someone called them and told them what I was doing for hours. And I just never uploaded any of that stuff. But I have so much stuff on my Google account that I should upload. But it's really irrelevant at this point. Now I kind of realize what was happening throughout the whole time. And I see other people going through what I was going through. So it's like my responsibility to come forward to be like, hey, don't fall for this one over here. Like, you want to fall for all these other, like, conspiracies. Like, there's truth to sovereignty. There is legitimacy in sovereignty. But it's, like, ultimately going to be in homesteading and, like, separating yourself completely from reliance on the government. Like, when you're no longer relying on the government, then you're sovereign. Like, and you have all these rights. Like, no one's going to fucking come and fuck with you in the middle of fucking Michigan or wherever you're homesteading in. Like, there's no one around. So that's ultimately, like, what I feel is sovereignty. Like, looking at it now, it's not like, oh, I can discharge debts and pay bills on my signature, because, like, that's what it all becomes. Like, the Moors, like, gave me a title of nobility because I was, like, helping all these people pay their bills and discharging their mortgages. And because it does work when you start arguing things like I was telling them. I'd be like, don't argue, oh, I can send you a fucking A4V, an acceptance for value, and here's my social security number and for deposit to the treasury. We know that's getting people arrested.
And then he said, I can see this is fictitious because when I look at the account number, I know that's the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, and they don't have accounts that individual taxpayers can draw upon. Again, nothing to do with what Howick said makes something fictitious under the statute. So yes, the jury accepted on a premise that was simply not consistent with what this court has said the statute reaches. There's another flaw, of course, in that the money order doesn't purport to be issued under the authority of the United States. And I would say that there was a case that came out in the course of the briefing, the Murphy case from this
I
court.
don't follow that at all, because the money order says paid to the order of the United States Treasury.
Yes.
Are you saying that's not under the authority of the United States?
No, because the authority that's claimed on here is Mr. Hall's authority to draw upon this supposed secret bank account.
How about the drawee being Timothy Geithner, Department of the Treasury?
And he's directing the drawee to make the payment to the Treasury.
Right.
So again.
Yeah, boy. I think you're close on the first argument. You're not very close on
Okay.
this one.
And I can see that Murphy appears to undermine that second argument. The third argument.
Here's the fucking Supreme Court fucking appellate decision where they're telling this guy who's filed his authenticated birth certificate and he's sovereign and he's got all of his UCC1 filings and he's done everything you're supposed to do. But here's the court saying you can't even make a large purchase because you're committing fraud. You're fucking filing financial documents and instruments with people and telling them to deposit for the Treasury. Deposit to the United States Treasury. Attention, Timothy Geithner. The court is literally saying that in this video. So we know that, like, they're saying, the court is saying there is no secret account. Does that nullify the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 10? Article 1, Section 10, where it's like saying that no state shall enter into a treaty, alliance, confederation, grant letters of marque, reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin, a tender in payment of debt, pass any law ex post facto or law impairing the obligations of contracts, or grant any titles of nobility. Like the gold and silver clause, you can argue that in court. You can go in and file a lawsuit and be like, I don't have any gold and silver coin. You can't demand anything but gold and silver coin as payment in debt. Like, they're gonna be like, well, we're operating, why'd you sign this contract? You're in this contract. So here's what we're gonna get into. Like, legitimate arguments that you can actually raise. Like, don't talk about like Pizzagate bullshit trying to prove like there's adrenochrome celebrities drinking children's blood. Like, that's horse shit. There's no fucking evidence for any of that. Like, if you want to like talk about something legitimate, like go like look at the Epstein shit that's coming out. Like, evidence, things that you can tie, like corruption, like where you have, I'm not gonna say, but there's certain country that could blackmail entire country's politicians. So you got flight lists on all these people. So I don't know, I'm just saying that shit is legitimate. Like, there's conspiracies that are legitimate. Like, when you want to talk about flat earth, there's no evidence for it. We've already debunked. It's bullshit. So debunking my own videos where I'm saying you can write promissory notes and send these off and put for deposits to the Treasury and then appoint these and send off all these IRS forms. Don't do any of that. The IRS will hit you with fraudulent filings. That's what I've seen. At least 300 different freaking emails and phone calls from people. I mean, I got so many phone calls from all these people who are watching these videos. And sovereignty's been around for a long time. Like, I'm not the first one to go and do this. I'm just the first one to have the fucking IRS sit there and be like, yeah, we know exactly what you're talking about. And you need to do it through whoever you have the contract with or whoever the debt is for. Contact them and ask them to tell you how they want it. So yes, there is a legitimate way that apparently the IRS knew about and taught me. So like, but I don't want people going and be like, oh, you have an account and you can charge this off and here's how to do it. And if you send me $800 for this package, I'm going to teach you how to be a sovereign. Do not pay anyone for sovereignty packets. I've been saying this for the last 12 years. No one listens to me. Like, don't. It doesn't fucking work. It's irrelevant and it doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters is what you can know and speak and articulate or write and enforce in a court. If you know you have these rights, then go and enforce them. I've seen people get their fucking traffic tickets dismissed. I've seen people get criminal charges that are dismissed. But I've never seen anyone get a criminal charge dismissed that has a victim. Like, if there's a victim, they're bringing them into court, and it doesn't matter what sovereignty you're filing, they get your ass. And you're committing financial crimes. They're saying that it's a crime now. Like, they're going after you criminally. So don't, like, I just don't want everyone to get caught up and be like, oh, look at Christopher, the Fleming family called the IRS, and this shit's real, and here's why. No. I'm telling you right now, they fucking, yeah, it's real, yeah, it worked, but look what they did. So, like, until, there's got to be some other solution. Once people start finding out, then there'll be a solution, but this isn't a solution. What's happening right now? Like, you gotta stop killing all the wars, but whatever. Do what you gotta do. Understanding promissory notes. Introduction to promissory notes. A promissory note is an important financial document that serves as a written promise to pay a specified amount of money to a designated party in a certain time or on demand. The written promise to pay specified amount to a designated party or certain time. At a certain time or on demand. So those terms should be used on there, right? It is vital in various financial transactions such as loans, credit agreements, and business dealings. Understanding how promissory notes function is essential for anyone involved in financial agreements, whether borrowing, lending, and managing debts. What is a promissory note? Promissory note is classified as a negotiable instrument under the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, right? Which governs financial transactions in the United States and in 132 countries around the world. According to the UCC, subsection 3-104, a promissory note must meet several criteria to be legally binding. So we need to have 1, written and signed. The note must be in writing and signed by the maker, the person promising to pay. Unconditional promise must contain an unconditional promise to pay a specified sum of money. Number 3, a fixed amount. The amount owed must be fixed and clearly determinable. Normally, like, write it out, put the numbers. Time of payment. It must specify when the payment is due or state that it is payable on demand. Payee identification. The note must have the name of the payee of the individual entity receiving the payment. So those are what we're going to need to see on the instrument for it to be. But guess what? If you don't leave something on there and you present this, let's say you don't do it right. So you only put 3 of these things on here and you're mailing it off, then you've created a chain of custody where now, like, they're the due holder in course. See what I'm saying? And now you have back and forth. Now they can be, hey, you forgot to put this on here. And they mail it back. I'll take care of that. Thanks for letting me know how you want it. Remember the IRS said? You need to contact the vendor and find out how they do it, how they want it.
Trying to fill out in the amount of how much?
Well, that's all my remittances that I send to you for the future, correct?
Okay. All of the municipal offices, you don't send those to us, you send those directly to them, and then if they need to process it further from us, then they would do it on there, and that would be on them to do. It will be no longer your issue once you send it to them.
Okay, so then what happens when they ignore my remittance? When I send them, because they look at me and they go, you can't pay your bills with your signature, are you crazy? So it's like, what do I say to them? Do I say, hey, listen, you need to contact the IRS, or you need to contact CID, or what do I say? Like, send that to, am I putting the right wordage on here? Because on the back I put, for deposit to U.S. Treasury, for credit to Municipal Services Bureau, and then I put for the account number, and then I signed it, authorized representative, and then I put my employee number, the Social Security number without dashes. So is that basically like everything I need on there, correct? And that's on the back, and then the front has paid in money order, and then in the amount of, and then I can leave that blank. Is that right as well? It doesn't have to have an amount. The IRS will be able to, or the CID is the one who figures all that out, right? What the actual amount is. So I'm okay just to leave it blank. Is that right?
That's not your concern outside of them. You'll want to know how they're wanting to process it. Their system might be different from ours. So check with them to see how they're wanting to have that filled out. I can tell you how ours need to be filled out.
Okay, could you do that? So when I send in, all right. So let's just go step by step. So how do you want?
Step by step would be best for you. What I'll do is 1040.
Oh, okay, I see.
With the year 2006.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And we'll sort it through from there. You should be getting the.
All right, cool. So you guys will actually send me proof that it was discharged?
Once it comes through, then yes, we'll go ahead and send that out to you as well.
Do you know how long it normally takes for the set-off to occur?
No, it's case by case, and the processing office, which is why we put your contact information. If there's anything unusual or any delays, they'll be the ones to let you know.
You know what? I really appreciate all your help. Thank you so much. I just have one more thing, if you could help me with this. So when I get these bills from these creditors, I would fill it out hypothetically the same exact way, except I would just put the 1040 and then 2012 on the top of it?
No,
Or is that only when I'm dealing with IRS discharge?
only when you're dealing with IRS. Everybody else's billing information may be slightly different. You'll want to ask them how they prefer to have it so that they can run it through their system. Not everybody's system is the same.
Okay. So I just got to get in contact with them and figure out who's in charge in the financial department. And...
Correct, and see what they're wanting from there.
All right, great. Thank you. What was your name?
My name is Miss Lumpkin.
Miss Lumpkin, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's not a problem at all.
All right, I love you. So
Glad to be of service to you.
all right, I love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes! I told you guys I'm not crazy. You can pay your bills with your birth certificate. I told you guys.
So if this is real and it works, we know it's real. I know it's real. I know it works. I've seen people who have, and I've helped people discharge debts, but it's never through using negotiable instruments. It's always through arguing like things like this, creating something to like have a back and forth with them about like, hey, we'll see. You can do whatever you want with this information, but this is from my perspective is the best way to attack something. Not putting forward deposit to the United States Treasury. Now we know that's no good. We know that there is no secret account that citizens can access. They're telling you that there's no secret account that citizens can access, and doing this borders fraud. So is it gonna border fraud for me to write I unconditionally promise to pay? Like who's gonna fucking say that that's fraud? Like, you're
I
promising
haven't
to
done
pay.
it yet. That's what I'm trying to
That's crazy. You
figure
can't do that.
out.
That's not gonna work. I got case law, dude. I got case law. I got case law. If you know what the fuck that means, it means I got case law. It means I got proof to show you that there's not only this has been done, but that courts have recognized and ruled in favor of this method. Examples of a promissory note. Consider this example. I, John Doe, promise to pay Jane Smith the sum of $5,000 on or before June 1st, 2016. This payment shall accrue interest at the rate of 5% per annum. Signed, John Doe, April 14th, 2025. This example illustrates the clarity required in a promissory note, ensuring all parties understand their obligations. The autonomy of a promissory note. This is what we need to discuss. To ensure enforceability, a promissory note should include several essential elements. Written document. According to UCC 3-104, promissory note must include a written format. Must be in written format. Oral promises can lead to disputes due to misunderstandings. An unconditional promise. The language must express clear and unconditional promise to pay. For example, I promise to pay $5,000. Demonstrates clearly, while conditional phrases complicate enforcement. Conditional phrases complicate enforcement. It's got to be clear that you're accepting this and that you're paying it. It's not going to be like, I conditionally accept. Conditional acceptance. Both the maker and the payee should be identified clearly. This isn't like, it has to be perfect. You can mail this shit off to somebody and create a conversation. And if they ignore it, it's refused and they're not credited. Now you have enforceability actions on that because now they're the due holder, which is why I use postal money orders to write the promissory notes on. And tell them this is not a postal money order. Do not deposit this to the post office. So, independent witness. I can literally stare at the sun without blinking. Make a pyramid and you can stare at it. I'll do it for hours. Have you seen me been doing this since you've been with me? Have I been staring at the sun, Gabby? Independent witness.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm recording.
They don't have accounts that individual taxpayers can draw upon. They don't have accounts that individual taxpayers can draw upon. They don't have accounts that individual taxpayers can draw upon. Again, nothing to do with what Howick said makes something fictitious under the statute. So yes, the jury accepted on the premise that was simply not consistent with what this court has said the statute reaches. There's another flaw, of course, in that the money order doesn't purport to be issued under the authority of the United States. And I would say that there was a case that came out in the course of the briefing, the Murphy case from this
I
court.
don't follow that at all because the money order says paid to the order of United States Treasury.
Yes.
Are you saying that's not under the authority of the United States? I don't follow that at all because the money order says paid to the order of United States Treasury.
Yes.
Are you saying that's not under the authority of the United States?
No, because the authority that's claimed on here is Mr. Hall's authority to draw upon this supposed secret bank account. The authority that's claimed on here is Mr. Hall's authority to draw upon this supposed secret bank account.
How about the drawee being Timothy Geithner, Department of the Treasury?
And he's directing the drawee to make the payment to the Treasury.
Right.
So again,
Yeah, boy. I think you're close on the first argument, you're not very close on
okay,
this one.
and
I think you're close on the first argument, you're not very close on
okay,
this one.
and I beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Hall intended to actually defraud. Either he believed this would legitimately pay his taxes, or he was trying to do a thumb in the eye to the IRS. Neither of those amounts to an
Or he said, no, you're not even close on the second one. Here's the state's arguments.
Good morning, Your Honors. My name is Monica Edelstein. I'm an AOSA from the District of Arizona. Your Honors, the government would submit that the instruments in this case, the fictitious financial instruments in this case, are precisely the type of instruments that Congress intended to criminalize under the statute 514. Appellant seems to be hung up on the use of this phrase money order that was attached to the top of these instruments that Mr. Hall submitted to the IRS. The key inquiry, of course, is not what the documents looked like, but of course their actuality. It's irrelevant what the defendant and his co-defendants put on the top of these instruments. They could have labeled them anything: site drafts, promissory notes, currency. That is truly not part of what is relevant in the inquiry under 514. And it's not the government's burden under 514 to prove that a money order as a financial instrument themselves are false and fictitious. The inquiry that is relevant, the important part of the inquiry, is whether the instruments that were charged, the ones that were made by the defendants in these cases, that just simply happened to be labeled money orders, were in and of themselves false and fictitious. In other words, writing money order on an instrument does not make it a real money order. But in creating an instrument here to look like a real money order, when in fact they were simply worthless documents created out of whole cloth, this is what makes them false and fictitious, that they were simply created out of nothing. This brought these particular instruments into the category and the class criminalized by 514.
What's the difference? I should know this answer, but I do not. What's the difference in terms of proof, punishment, etc., between charging this as a false or fictitious or charging this as a counterfeit?
Your Honor, off the top of my head, I don't know precisely what the difference in statutory structure are. However, I would note that there is no precedent in this circuit or elsewhere that says that a document or an instrument has to fall under one category or other, fictitious or counterfeit, to be charged. What's relevant in this case, of course, is that the types of documents we have, the instruments we have, fall precisely into the category of 514, thus making it appropriate to charge these particular instruments under that statute.
But I gather that the argument made here, at least implicitly, is, now, I can be corrected by your adversary, but I think I understood him implicitly to concede that if this had been charged as a counterfeit, that argument would go away.
Your Honor, whether or not they could be charged under the counterfeit statute is an entirely separate argument. What they can be charged under and what they are in this case, these two monies, are false and fictitious. They're, to the point with respect to, I think the Murphy case puts to bed any indication that on the face of these, they couldn't be, the jury could not infer that they were issued under the authority of the United States. The important thing to also note is there are no money orders issued by the Department of Treasury. This simply doesn't exist. And it goes back to the original point that it doesn't matter what the defendants put on these particular documents. It is the characteristic and indicia indicated on them that pulls them within the false and fictitious statute under 514.
So
what says, in the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic religions, we think of God not only as a monarch, but as the maker of the world. And as a result of that, we look upon the world as an artifact, a sort of machine created by a great engineer. There is a different concept in India, where the world is not seen as an artifact, but it's a drama.
Thank God.
And therefore, God is not the maker and architect of the universe, but the actor of it.
All the actors.
And is playing all the parts at once. And this connects up with the idea of each one of us as persons.
Persons.
Because a person is a mask from the Latin persona, the mask worn by the actors in Greco-Roman drama. Okay, I'm gonna probably...
So we have him, Celestin Milo Duquette, right, defining persons, saying that it used to be like the mask that the actor would wear. You're a person. You're putting on this mask to play the role. Okay? But now we know, like, the person isn't the man. You're the man. You're born a man or a woman, living, breathing thing, and then they give you this person, the all capital letter legal fiction, to conducting commerce with. So it's interesting, right? So we all see how it's all like full circle. It all goes around. It's like, so I'm like, oh man, I can't stay on one subject or I get distracted to talk about 1,000 different things. Because it's like, for me, all these things all meld into one. And I can like see it all as like the same thing. Antichrist, a fur of the Fleming family. One world currency. How to pay bills with your signature. No? Too much. Like Jesus, forgive your debtors forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Truce. So the Four of Swords is like telling me that I need to rest and relax, meditate and contemplate.